In May 2014 in Waukesha, Wisconsin, two 12-year-old girls led their friend into the woods and stabbed her 19 times. When in police custody, they talked of Slender Man, a fictional internet character who they said drove them to kill. Welcome to the new episode of True Crime and Mystery on the Chronicle Celebs channel. This was not a video game, a film, or a television series that can be blamed for encouraging these children to carry out such a violent act, but an internet meme. A mythical character created through an internet Photoshop competition in 2009 has been picked up and used in hundreds, maybe thousands of fictional stories written by fans all over the world. Well, yeah, he's anywhere from 14 to 60 feet tall. He constantly wears a suit. He doesn't have a face. He targets children. He has tendrils on his back. I was really scared he could kill my whole family in 3 seconds, one girl told the police. Slender Man is a character that created fear and intrigue in the minds of two 12-year-olds who believed this character was real. On the 30th of May 2014, 12-year-old Morgan Geyser and her friend, 12-year-old Anissa Wire, invited Peyton Leutner, also 12 years old, for a sleepover. According to the criminal complaint filed against them, this was the night they had planned to kill Peyton, to prove the skeptics wrong that Slender Man really did exist. Unable to go through with their plans that night, the following day, they went into the woods for a game of hide and seek. Making the decision to go ahead, they restrained their unsuspecting friend and passed the knife back and forth between them, both hesitant to be the first to stab her. At some point, one did, and there followed a total of 19 stab wounds, narrowly missing this young girl's major arteries. Police believe it was Morgan Geyser who repeatedly stabbed Peyton Leutner, while Anissa Wire watched and urged her on. Telling their victim they were going for help, the two young girls left the scene and began their journey towards Nicollet National Forest, where they believed Slender Man lived. Now they had committed murder, they thought. He would appear before them and invite them to live with him in his mansion. A very courageous Peyton Leutner dragged herself out of the woods and to the side of a road, telling her parents afterward, "I wanted to live." Found by a passing cyclist, she was taken to hospital and surgery, where she survived her injuries. Geyser and Wire were found hours after the stabbing wandering along Interstate 40 with a bloodied kitchen knife in their backpack. The reported motive behind this brutal attack was most unusual. The two girls had discovered the story of Slender Man on a website that featured a range of different horror stories written to frighten eager readers. The Slender Man is a fictional character that originated as an internet meme in 2009. The character appears as a thin, unnaturally tall man with no facial features wearing a black suit. Slender Man is a typical children's boogeyman, a character who terrorizes children through stalking and abduction. Mostly featured in online written stories, Slender Man has appeared in videos and artwork and has also gained popularity in the video game industry, appearing in the game Minecraft and dedicated Slender Man video games. The character was created in an internet forum where a Photoshop competition prompted users to submit photoshopped versions of everyday images. One user with the username Victor Surge submitted 2 black and white photos of groups of children with this Slender Man image in the background. The photos were accompanied by text from apparent witnesses of child abductions, as if they were real events. Soon going viral, this image and character have been expanded on and used in many different mediums, with fan art and online fiction being prominent in its growth. As the character is entirely fictitious with no historical roots, the writer has the freedom to change his appearance, actions, and motives with little restrictions, no doubt adding to its popularity. The imagination can be used in full swing when working with this character, and this has been used to full advantage. The two 12-year-old girls in this case apparently believed if they killed someone, they would become Slender Man's proxies and live with him in his hidden mansion. It is understood they believed that in order to win his approval, they must commit murder. Even in today's modern world, 12-year-olds are not as mature, responsible, and wise as we often think they are.
It appears these two girls were fully enthralled with this character and no doubt egged on by each other. Their delusion and belief escalated. It is unlikely this crime would have been carried out alone. The fact there were two of them to discuss Slender Man and how to please him most likely increased his presence between them.
Most disturbing about this case is the indication by police that this attack and attempted murder of their friend had been planned for months. It was not a spur-of-the-moment decision or a spontaneous act that became out of control. Various notes were found in the girls' bedrooms, detailing what they would need for the attack and plans for how they would carry it out. Their intention was to murder, to take the life of their school friend in order to achieve the recognition and rewards from the character which they believed in, that of Slender Man. The bad part of me wanted her to die. The good part of me wanted her to live. This is not the only case regarding the Slender Man myth. One mother has reported her 13-year-old daughter was also influenced by the character to carry out violence. Her daughter waited for her in the kitchen, dressed in black, wearing a mask, and attacked her with a knife. The unnamed 13-year-old is now in a juvenile detention center, facing charges as a juvenile for the attack on her mother. The girl has a history of mental health problems and was reportedly very into horror fan fiction, writing a number of her own stories involving the Slender Man character. The internet is a modern-day advancement with information at the touch of a button. All over the world, anyone can set up a website, publish an article, or write fiction that they can publish online. The popularity of the Slender Man character with the sheer number of stories involving him may have provided an unintentional reinforcement that this character could exist, at least in the minds of two 12-year-olds whose minds were becoming unbalanced through mental illness. Morgan Geyser was diagnosed with early-onset schizophrenia and psychotic spectrum disorder in the months after the attack, conditions characterized by delusions and hallucinations. In treatment for the past 4 years, although improved, Geyser is still an unwell young girl with psychiatrists believing she requires years of further treatment. In a 2014 interview, her mother, Angie Geyser, talked of a family history of schizophrenia, but no outward signs from her daughter to suggest how unwell she was, along with their shock that their barely teenage child had planned such a violent attack on her school friend. She did make a conscious effort to hide her symptoms from us. I think part of that was because her hallucinations were her friends, she said. Anissa Weier was found to be suffering from shared delusional belief, a condition where two people with a close relationship share the same delusional belief and can feed off each other. In these cases, the primary case almost always suffers from a mental illness characterized by delusions. In such cases, it is common for these beliefs to diminish once the individual is separated from the primary case, a situation that appears to have been the case with Anissa Weier. However, psychiatrists also feel Weier does need further support and treatment. Some have blamed the internet for encouraging these two girls to act out in violence, others the stories and character of Slender Man itself. However, it is not the folktale or myth that is to blame for such actions. It is how that information has been interpreted by the child, and in this case, it is now clear that this interpretation was fueled by delusions within the grips of spiraling mental health decline. After a long debate on whether the two girls should be charged as adults after such a serious crime despite their young ages, each eventually entered guilty pleas to first-degree intentional homicide for Morgan Geyser in October 2017 and attempted second-degree intentional homicide for Anissa Weier in December 2017. With extensive psychiatric reports on both girls, Anissa Weier was sentenced to 25 years in a mental institution and Morgan Geyser to 40 years. After withdrawing her 2022 application for conditional release from the Winnebago Mental Health Institute, Morgan Geyser filed again in May 2023. 3 doctors will examine Morgan and submit their reports to the courts advising their opinions on whether or not she firstly could be released early at all and secondly, which conditions any release would require. It has yet to be decided whether or not her release will be granted. Anissa Weier, now 19 years old, was released in September 2021 after it was determined she did not pose any threat to the public. She has strict conditions for her release that she will be required to abide by.